Dear children, this is the second lesson of Competency 6, grade 11 science, biological processes in life. The process of respiration is another very important biological process in your body, respiration. The respiration is a very complex process occurs in your body which provide oxygen required for producing of energy and removal of carbon dioxide and water vapor produced within the body cells and exchange of gases. Like it's a complex process in your body. The respiration occurs in 3 stages. In the first stage, the gas exchange between external environment and lungs. That means the air in the atmosphere is taken into the lungs and the kind of unnecessary gases in the lungs are given out to the external environment. Gas exchange between external environment and the lungs. Then the second stage, gas exchange in alveoli. You'll be learning about alveoli next part of the lesson. Inside the alveoli in the lungs, the exchange of gas takes place between the blood and the alveoli. Gases are exchanged. The third stage, cellular respiration. It occurs in the cells, mitochondria. Cellular respiration it produces energy by the cellular respiration. This is what you need to know. Respiration is a very complex process and it occurs in 3 stages. Gas exchange between external environment and the lungs, gas exchange in alveoli, and cellular respiration. For the first 2 stages, gas exchange between external environment and the lungs and gas exchange in alveoli, your respiratory system is fully adapted. Human respiratory system is well adapted for these 2 main functions of the respiratory process. Gas exchange between external environment and the lungs and gas exchange between alveoli and the blood, or gas exchange in alveoli. Your respiratory system is located in thoracic cavity above the diaphragm, and it is protected by your rib cage. Your respiratory system includes these main parts: the nasal cavity, the nose, the pharynx, which is a common part for 2 systems, the respiratory system and digestive system, the larynx, trachea, bronchi, bronchioles, and alveoli. These are the main parts of your respiratory system. In this diagram, you see the main parts of the respiratory system: nasal cavity, the nose, then the pharynx, which is a common part for 2 systems, respiratory system and digestive system, the larynx, where you produce the voice, the vocal cords are inside the larynx, the voice box, then the trachea, a long pipe leading up to the bronchus, then the bronchi and small branches inside the lungs, bronchioles, and the air sacs or the alveoli. And the muscular membrane, strong muscular membrane below the two lungs is known as the diaphragm. It has a special function in the respiratory process, the inspiration and expiration. It is very useful, the diaphragm. If I label the parts again, nasal cavity, pharynx, larynx, trachea, bronchus, bronchioles, alveoli, the right lung, the left lung, and the diaphragm. Here the diaphragm, right lung, left lung. In the right lung there are three lobes, 1, 2, 3. In the left lung only two lobes. The children, what you see here is the trachea and bronchus, bronchioles. The diaphragm muscle can contract and stretch for the respiratory movement, for the inhaling and exhaling process. The rib cage also important for the respiratory movements, to maintain the respiratory movements. If you consider nasal cavity, you get the air into the lungs through the nasal cavity, and the air in the lungs are given out to the external environment to the nasal cavity. The internal surface of the nasal cavity is covered with mucus. You know, your nose is wet inside. That is because of the mucus. This mucus is important for trapping the various kinds of particles you get through the air, and the bacterium like some microorganisms even getting stick on this mucus. And inside the inner lining, or on the inner lining of the nasal cavity, there are numerous cilia, small hair like structures, cilia. They are also important to prevent the entrance of bacteria, dust and other waste smoke particles into the lungs. Not only that, your nasal cavity make the air into suitable temperature before getting into the lungs. So you inhale cold air or hot air, it is made into a suitable body temperature before getting into the lungs. These are the changes take place when inhaled air passes through your nasal cavity. It moisturizes and humidifying, then warm up of inhaled air and removal of waste from inhaled air. Once the air is breathed into the nasal cavity, it is passed to the pharynx, then it is guided to the larynx, then passed into the trachea. Trachea is a long pipe leading up to the bronchi, and trachea is protected and uh, encapsulated by C-shaped cartilaginous rings. What you see in white color is cartilaginous rings. It prevents the trachea getting shrink. You know, if the trachea getting shrink, your respiratory tract is obstructed, then you will die. To prevent the respiratory tract getting constrict, these cartilaginous rings are very important. Not only the trachea, even the bronchus, bronchioles are protected by these cartilaginous rings. Yeah, C-shape, letter C. Then the two bronchi entering into the two lungs, and they are divided into small branches called bronchioles. Bronchioles. At the terminus of the bronchioles, there are small sacs called alveoli sacs. Alveoli sacs, air sacs. The air getting into the lungs are finally filled in these alveoli sacs. And this is the place where the exchange of gas between the blood and the inhaled air is taken place. And these alveoli sacs are provided with large number of blood capillaries, and they are surrounded by large number of blood capillaries in order to get the gas exchange between blood and alveoli sacs. What you see on the screen is alveoli sacs. The children, if you consider the respiratory surface of any organism, these respiratory surfaces are well adapted for the efficient exchange of gas. Whatever the organism, the respiratory surfaces are well adapted for efficient exchange of that the function. The respiratory surface should be moistened and permeable for gas exchange. When it is wet, the gases can easily get dissolved in that and retain until it is diffused in or out. And the respiratory surface should be permeable for gas exchange. Another adaptation is surface should be thin for the diffusion of gases. If the surface is so thick, it is difficult for the gas particles to pass through. So the surface should be thin for the diffusion of gases. And the surface area should be large in order to give the required volume for gas exchange, required surface for gas exchange. And the surface should be highly vascularized. The surface should be provided with large number of blood capillaries. For the exam purpose, it is compulsory to know the characteristics of a respiratory surface. Surface should be moistened and permeable for gases. Surface should be thin for diffusion of gases. Large surface area should be there for efficient exchange, and surface should be highly vascularized. Your alveoli are well adapted for this function. If you consider human alveoli, it is the respiratory surface in human respiratory system. Presence of blood capillaries or the presence of large number of blood capillary network around the alveoli. And thin alveoli wall. The alveoli wall is very thin so that the air or the gases can easily pass through. And the alveoli wall is moist in order to dissolve the gases. The gases are not passing through the blood as really the undissolved gas. It is dissolved in moist surface. Presence of large number of alveoli sacs. Human alveoli are having these four adaptations in accordance with the adaptations that should be present in any respiratory system, in respiratory surface. You learn the structure of human respiratory system. Now we are going to learn the function and the process of a respiratory system. For the exchange of gas between external environment and the lungs, it is very important. The process inspiration. Inspiration means taking in air into your lungs. Inspiration or the inhalation. taking in air into the lungs. How does it happen? You can demonstrate the inspiration by using this uh, replica or the model. Here it has a transparent bottle, and at the lower part of the bottle it is connected with the balloon membrane and a string, and you have connected a balloon. When you pull the balloon membrane at the bottom downwards, the volume of this bottle and the cavity increases. As the volume increases, the pressure decreases. So the air from the outside gets into the balloon. The same process takes place in your body at the inspiration, like this. This replica can be used to demonstrate or to explain how the inspiration occurs. When you pull the balloon membrane or the diaphragm downwards, the pressure inside the thoracic cavity decreases and the volume increases. So the air from the outside gets into the two balloons here. The two balloons are just like the lungs, and here two pipes or the two tubes used here are as the bronchi, and here just like the trachea, and here the diaphragm. If I repeat the process inspiration and how it happens, taking air into the lungs is the inspiration. This is how the inspiration takes place. The intercostal muscles, the muscles between the ribs, that means, get contract. When the intercostal muscles or the muscles between the ribs get contract, the rib cage moves forward and upward. The sternum of the rib cage moves forward and upwards. At the same time, simultaneously, the diaphragm contracts and reduces its curvature. The diaphragm contracts and reduces its curvature. Due to these both activities, the contraction of intercostal muscles and contraction of the diaphragm, the volume of the thoracic cavity increases and the pressure inside the lungs decreases, so the air comes into the lungs through your nasal cavity. The process is known as inspiration. After the inspiration, the alveolar sacs are filled with air. It contains all the kinds of gases, not only oxygen. Then the gas exchange between the alveoli and blood take place. The gas exchange between alveoli and blood capillaries take place. The blood in the blood capillaries. What you see on the screen is one alveolus. It has a very thin surface, only one cell layer thickness. Is one of the blood capillaries. It is also have only one cell layer thickness. Once you inhale air and when the alveolus is filled with gases, the oxygen in the alveolus diffuses into the blood capillaries. Oxygen in the alveolus diffuses into the blood capillaries, and carbon dioxide in the blood capillaries diffuses into the alveoli. This is the exchange of gas. This blood capillary contains blood having high concentration of carbon dioxide and low concentration of oxygen. It is coming from the heart, from the pulmonary artery. It is coming from the heart, from the pulmonary artery. It is rich with carbon dioxide and it has low concentration of oxygen. Then the carbon dioxide in the capillary diffuses in the alveolus, and oxygen in the alveolus diffuses into the blood capillary. This is exchange of gas in the alveolus. To make this process so efficient, there are very large number of alveoli in your lungs, and there are very large number of capillaries around each alveolus. Dear children, after the gas exchange takes place in the alveoli, the third and the last process occurring in the respiratory whole process is cellular respiration. Cellular respiration. It occurs within the cells as a metabolic activity. Inside the cells, there's a kind of organelle called mitochondria. Inside the cells, there are a number of mitochondria. With the help of this mitochondria, the cellular respiration takes place. Oxygen moved through the alveolar tract into the blood is transported up to the cells, and then the oxygen diffuses into the cells. Oxygen diffuses in the cells. This oxygen is utilized for producing of energy within the cells. The cellular respiration is the process of oxidation of simple food within the living cells. I think you can remember, once food is digested, the glucose and amino acids, they were absorbed into the blood. They are carried up to the cells. Now the cells contain glucose like simple food material, and oxygen was even supplied by the blood. Then in presence of this oxygen, food is subjected to oxidation. Then the respiration is the process of oxidation of simple food within the cells. If it happens in presence of sufficient amount of oxygen, we call it as aerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration. And if it happens without oxygen or without sufficient amount of oxygen, we call it as anaerobic respiration. Let us discuss the two kinds of cellular respirations, aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. The respiration occurs in presence of oxygen within the cells is called aerobic respiration. Here what happens is glucose combined with oxygen and produce carbon dioxide, water vapor and energy. That is aerobic respiration. Here the equation is not given. Glucose plus oxygen, carbon dioxide, water vapor and energy. In anaerobic respiration, it happens without oxygen. In the case of plants, if the anaerobic respiration occurs, the glucose converts into ethyl alcohol, carbon dioxide and energy. Ethyl alcohol, carbon dioxide, energy. In plants. In animals, if the anaerobic respiration occurs, that means the respiration without oxygen occurs in the cells, it produces lactic acid and energy. Lactic acid and energy. The anaerobic respiration occurs in plants is called as alcohol fermentation. You know, the people produce alcohol by using the yeast. It's a kind of microorganism. Here the anaerobic respiration takes place, we call it as alcohol fermentation. Right. Dear children, you learn the process of inspiration, then exchange of gas, cellular respiration. The cellular respiration, it produces carbon dioxide, water vapor like excretory matter, unnecessary matter, and energy. The energy produced is stored in your body as ATP, adenosine triphosphate, and it is used for the other biological activities you need. The unnecessary matter, carbon dioxide, excess carbon dioxide, and water should be eliminated from your body. It happens through the expiration. These unwanted matter are brought to the lungs back, and that unnecessary gases are released from your body through the expiration. This is how the expiration occurs. At the inspiration, the intercostal muscles were contracted and the rib cage moved upward and forward. Your diaphragm contracted and lowered. At expiration, it is other way around. Intercostal muscles relaxes. The rib cage moves downward and backward. At the same time, the diaphragm relaxes and increases its curvature. It bends upward, and the volume of the thoracic cavity decreases and the pressure on lungs increases. Due to these activities, the air in the lungs goes out of your body through the nasal cavity. That process is the expiration. Dear children, you learn how the respiration occurs, the stages of respiration, and how the unwanted gases and water vapor is released from your body through the expiration. In my next video, I'll discuss the diseases associated with the respiratory system. Referring to your textbook and past papers and do the questions based on respiratory system, and try to read the diseases associated with the respiratory system before we discuss in the next part of the lesson. Goodbye, children.